All right, we are live. How are we all doing out there? Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm trying a new way of routing my audio this week, so if you need more of my voice or anything, let me know. So yeah, how is everyone doing? It's been a couple of weeks since the last live. I've been not home very much, so hence the lack of me being here. I've been super busy on the road doing some gigs, and yeah, there's going to be a really cool vlog coming out with that very soon as well. We did a lot of miles, which we'll talk about in a bit anyway. So who have we got in today? Peter Grant is here again. Good to see you, Peter. Looking forward to this one, as this guitar will be in my price range. I mean, Harley Benton is a really great brand, very, very affordable and very reliable for the money. The Guitar Geek is here. Hey Andy, how's it going? Good to see you. You finally made a live stream. Nice to finally see you. And I'm going to have to get you on here one day just so we can chat, because, you know, we haven't seen each other properly in a long time. And we haven't spoke properly in a long time, so we need to fix that. Harley Benton's been knocking it out the park for a good while now. They really have. I mean, you know, anyone who's been around the channel will know I'm a fan of Harley Benton. They do some really great stuff. I do think they're one of the kind of contenders to kind of be one of the best affordable brands at the moment. So yeah, they're doing some really good stuff. Amped Wales, this will be interesting if it's the modern model, 60s aesthetics with a more modern hardware and playability. I'm guessing you've guessed from the thumbnail what guitar I'm actually going to be unboxing. An acoustic, are you feeling okay? I am feeling okay. I'm just holding this because I didn't want to unbox the guitar straight away, obviously because we don't want to spoil the surprise until some more people get here. But this is a guitar that I posted about on Instagram today, and I've been literally shooting a video with all day today. I've been shooting a video probably for about 7 or 8 hours today on Martin strings. But Martin loaned me this incredible D18 for a couple of weeks. So I just thought, you know, when you've got a Martin D18 in the house, it's rude to not bring it on the live stream and talk about it, because it's such a good guitar. I've always wanted one of these things. And if there are any tuning issues tonight, guitars may be going flat on the stream tonight because it is absolutely roasting here in South Wales. It's like top 20s for this week, which is rare for us. It's incredibly hot in my studio today because I've got the lights on and everything. So if my guitars are going a little bit flat, you know, blame the sun, because I didn't ask for the sun to be that hot today. So blame that if you want someone to blame for the tuning issues. But yeah, this is here for a while. Regrettably, I'm sending it back soon, but I'm going to be shooting a demo on it as well. The guitar's here for a completely separate video, but basically I just think, you know, I've got it here, I might as well make a video dedicated to this guitar. The video in question is about Martin strings, and that's going to be a really interesting video for anyone who is trying to figure out what kind of acoustic strings are right for them. So that's going to be coming some point in the next week or two. I basically just need to sit down and edit the thing now. But yeah, this thing I've just been playing non-stop. I don't think anything quite sounds like a Martin, does it? You know, the craftsmanship on these things is incredible. I really, really don't want to give it back. Andy has given a super chat. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. All good, Mush. I like that you've still got the Swansea lingo there in your vocabulary. And would love to. Yes, you have to. We'll have to sort something out soon, and I'll get you on here and we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. Crenar's here as well. Hey Crenar, how's it going? Good to see you. And CGS is here. Hey Mike, how are you doing? I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. It's only, what, 2 weeks now? So hopefully that will fly by. Such a rich sounding guitar. Yeah, it really is. The low end is incredible. I always preferred the slightly smaller body sort of forms. I like the triple O's and those kind of sizes. This is my first time playing a D18. I've always loved the sound of them when other people play them, but for my own use, I like the the slightly smaller bodies, but I'm really loving this thing. I don't know what the monetary value is, but I know it's not cheap because it's a Martin. Martins aren't cheap. They're the great guitars, but yeah, very rich sounding, very responsive, quite versatile. Even though it's got that big kind of low end, it's really good for picked stuff. But yeah, really cool. You can boil an egg on the pavement in Merthyr. I think you could boil an egg on my desk in this studio, man. It's so hot. Had a nice walk earlier from Bracelet Bay to Limeslade. Cool offshore breeze was good. Yeah, the offshore breeze is the key. I've just come back from Download Festival this week, and it was so hot. But there was a nice breeze, and every time the breeze cut across, it really took the edge off the punishing heat. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Peter. I'm a big fan of the breeze. I know it's not a 12 string, but that Martin is asking for a bit of Wholehearted. Yeah, all right, you got it. How's that? That does sound better on a 12 string, but it does sound really good on any guitar, really. It's a cool riff. Looking forward to seeing you too. Yes, it's going to be good, Mike. Can't wait. What's your mic setup tonight? Sounds wonderful. Well, Andy, the mic I'm using is actually the one you gave me 2 years ago, the Rode NTG1. So it's actually my go-to mic for live streaming. It's right there. You can't see it, but it is there. But yeah, that's literally capturing everything in the stream. But yeah, that's thanks to you. So thank you for the wonderful sounding microphone. About 2.5k. Is that the price range on these? I didn't actually look it up, to be honest. It is it's not one of the import models. It is a full fat Martin D18, all the way from Nazareth. I'm quite afraid of it because it's not mine. I kind of feel like I can't dig in on it too much because, I don't want to break it. Because I can't afford to buy it. So if I break it, I'll buy it. And I don't have the money to buy it right now. I played a 00028 a couple of months ago. What an experience. Oh yeah, I can imagine. When I was talking to the guys at Martin about the video that we're doing, or I've done, but will be out soon, we were trying to figure out what guitar to use. And the contenders were the D28, the D18, or the 00018. And basically because of all the weird shipping problems in the world and stuff at the moment, this was the one that was in stock, and this was the one that was easiest to get. I would have loved to have done it with the 000 model, or a D28, because the 28 is just that little bit more richer. But, who's going to turn their nose up at a couple of weeks in the D18? Yeah, what an experience. I think when it comes to acoustics, you can play nice acoustics and then you play a Martin and it's a different experience altogether. Hotter than hell at Download. It was, and it was really hot when Kiss started setting the flamethrowers off as well. That made it that little bit hotter. Man, that sounds good. Yeah, really good. Wow, you're welcome. Yeah, that mic sound is all you, Andy. All you. Gavin James, hello from Aberdare. Hope you're well. I'm good, Gavin. Thank you. How are you? Good to see you here. Quicksilver, nice shirt. The blue shirt, or did you spy the t-shirt underneath? Which actually, in reference to Jared's comment about hotter than hell, that I am actually wearing a Kiss t-shirt as well underneath this shirt. So, kind of fits the theme. Bet it wouldn't sound that good if I played it. I bet it would, Peter. I bet it would. I gotta go practice. Have a great show. Yes, go practice and we'll catch up very soon. Give me a ring and I'll arrange to get you on here at some point and we'll talk a load of rubbish about guitars like we always do. But yeah, tonight, guys, yeah, first live stream in 2 weeks. So what's everyone been up to? Obviously, we're going to be talking about some... I pointed over that shoulder and it's this shoulder. I got to remember that it's that side. The Harley Benton is in the box that we're going to be unboxing. The reason I wanted to unbox it live is because I've done 2 other Harley Benton videos on my channel, which are these 2. the Fusion 3 and the HB35. Now, the reason I wanted to unbox one live is because every time I post a Harley Benton video, and admittedly the two I've played have been really good. Now, I know, obviously, the lower price guitars, there's going to be variances in what you get out of the box, but the two I've played have been great. And I always get people messaging me saying, are they really that good? Or are they, are they that good out of the box? Those two have been, but I've obviously heard horror stories from maybe even some of you guys, but also other people that have commented on videos saying that they've bought Harley Bentons and haven't been great. So I thought, let's see what happens when we literally take one out the box live. Could be great, could be terrible. Who knows? But we're going to find out tonight. But yeah, what's everyone been up to other than playing lots of guitar? So since we last spoke, what have I done? I've been all over the place. The last live stream was 2 weeks. Well, we missed two. So the reason we missed the first one was because I was on the road for a week. So I ended up doing a bunch of gigs, starting in Kent in the southeast of England. From there, we drove down to the south of France, which was a long drive. It took us 11 hours from north to south of France. We played a gig in the south of France in a really, really cool, big 18th century chateau, which was amazing. We actually played 3 gigs in one day in different variations. Then I drove from the south of France to Stansted Airport in one go, which was 18 hours. That was a long drive. Then I had another gig the next day in the north of England. Then I came home for one night, and then I had another gig in mid Wales. So I think in 1 week, I think I did maybe 4,000 miles. It was something like 45 hours of driving in 6.5 days. It was a long week. I pretty much filmed the whole thing as well. I filmed literally from the moment I packed and left from this room until... I didn't film until I got home, but I filmed at the final hotel stay. So there's going to be a vlog coming out soon. Again, when I edit the video, it's probably I've got I don't know, a lot of hours of footage to go through. So yeah, I need to go through all that, and then the vlog will be live so you guys can see what I got up to for that week. Crenard bought a telly. What did you buy? Have I seen it? Have I seen you post a picture of it yet? If not, send me a picture because I want to see what you've bought. Andy is here. Why? Andy's never too far. Me and Andy are good friends. He does occasionally drop in when he's not super busy, but I think he's gone now to go play some guitar. Gavin, have you checked out the new Swansea Arena yet? Looks good. Yes, I went to see Alice Cooper there a couple of weeks ago. Really cool. I have to admit, it exceeded my expectations. I thought it was going to be okay, but yeah, they did a really good job with the place. I think I had low expectations because it's Swansea, and things in Swansea are always a little bit rubbish. But the arena was really good actually, and the layout was great. The sound was pretty good. It wasn't the best, but it was it was okay. I think they'll iron those creases out. But overall, it's a very promising venue, and yeah, hopefully loads more cool gigs are going to be there. The heat must have gotten to me. I bought an Ibanez gem. Maybe, yeah, that's definitely a sign of heat exhaustion. Where's the Harley? Yeah, it's in the box behind me. We're going to be opening it very soon. How was it? How is it? Was it? I know you guys in the UK declare hot when the thermostat hits 26 degrees. We're not very good with heat in the UK. I think at the moment it's well, my watch is telling me 18 degrees, but it's definitely warmer than 18 degrees. I'd put it in the mid-20s. I would definitely put this probably 24, 25. But yeah, you're right. We're not very good with heat. When I was in the south of France, it was 28, 29, so it was pretty hot. Hot equals heat, yeah. It was... right, I get it now. How hot is it? Was it? You put the word how twice. That's where the confusion came from there. Yeah, it was very hot. But yeah, we're not very good with heat in the UK. I got a used Player Series telly. Fun fact, my first ever Fender. That's cool. Do you know what? I don't own the Fender either. I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I think I mentioned it on this stream as well. I don't actually own any guitars by like Gibson or Fender. I have a Squier that I've modded, and I have a couple of Epiphones that I've had since I was really young, but I've never actually bought a Gibson or a Fender. The only like big guitar brand I own anything from is I own a PRS. I own instruments that those companies own other companies of. So I own a couple of Kramers, which are pre-Gibson Kramers, because mine are from the 80s, and I own a Jackson, and a Gretsch, which obviously Fender own Jackson and Gretsch as well. But I don't own any Fenders myself. Maybe one day I'll change that. It's custard yellow with pink is the perfect colour combination. New Guitar Day, I finally received the Yamaha Revstar RSS20. Not bad at all. I want to try the new Revstars. I've heard nothing but good things about them, but I've not tried one myself yet, but I would love to. I hope I do get to try one soon, because I'm a big fan of Revstars. Right, so we talked a little bit about the Martin. Don't think we need to talk much more about acoustic. I do love playing this though. So, let's talk about Harley Benton. So obviously, I have a couple of Bentons already. Those two, as I've said. This one is one of the most surprising guitars I've ever come into possession of. This one I got, I think, sometime late last summer. This one arrived, and this is, spec-wise, fantastic. I mean, stainless steel frets, roasted maple neck. It's sort of based on the Charvel DK24. We've got lock and tuners, Wilkinson trem. It's a great guitar, really versatile, really kind of reliable. I've done gigs with this thing, that's how good it is. And then, obviously my first experience of Benton, I'm not even going to profess that this thing's going to be in tune because I haven't played it in a while. HB35, this is a great guitar as well. It's their take on the 335. It is out of tune, as I thought it would be, but with coil splits, yeah, great. These are like 200 and something pound. Can't really fault them. So anyone who's tried Harley Benton will probably have an opinion on the build quality, the playability, and so on. I'd like to know if anyone here has tried them. I know obviously Andy was here and he has tried one. He has multiple, and I know Mike CGS was here earlier and he's got a few as well, but I'd be interested to find out if anyone else here has tried any Bentons as well at some point. But now we're going to crack the box open and see what's inside. So Jared has kind of already guessed what it is. The thumbnail of the video did kind of give it away. So this is a really big box considering my studio's not the biggest, and I'm being really careful here not to rip my in-ear monitors out, because this is a massive cardboard box. So I'm literally opening this for the first time. This has actually been here. When did this arrive? This arrived like a week ago. I've kind of resisted temptation to open this thing up because I sort of came home for a day or two between being on the road and going to download. This arrived at that point, but I didn't want to crack it open and then, you know, not be able to show you guys it up front. So I'm quite excited as well to get into this box myself. You're clearly struggling to put that acoustic down. I am struggling, and I'm going to struggle even more when I have to send it back. A few weeks before that, I got a new PRS SE Custom 24 Black Gold, and that thing won't go out of tune. PRSs are incredibly good at staying in tune. I take mine out for a lot of gigs, and sometimes I'll put it in the gig bag, take it out the other end, and it just works. You know, it's just in tune. I missed out on a really cool used Electromatic Gretsch Duo Jet with a Bigsby. Those are great guitars. I've got an Electromatic Duo Jet, and I don't play it as much as I should, but it's such a good guitar. it was the guitar that kind of, when I was growing up, I pretty much only was interested in playing Les Pauls. And when I got my Gretsch, that was the first point where I thought, okay, there's other things. And the Gretsch was kind of the thing that got me into, it's like Les Paul style, but the Filtertron style pickups are really, really low output. So it sort of sounds more like a Telly. And that was kind of the catalyst then for me kind of moving into more single coil style sounds. But yeah, I got one with the Bigsby as well. Play a series Telly to deal with the sadness. I mean, you've got to buy a guitar to get over missing other guitars. That's the whole point of buying guitars. Hey Hannah, how's it going? Am12s don't have one, but I really want a Fusion. Fusions are great. The new ones look incredible. They've just released these matte black ones with a hardtail and a reverse headstock, and those look awesome. I'm a proper nerd. Aren't we all? That's why we're here. I've had a handful of Bentons and a DC Junior that I foolishly sold as one of the best guitars ever. I remember you having a DC Junior, actually. I remember seeing your video on that, Kunal. That was, I think, one of the first videos of yours I saw, actually. I've tried multiple ones. They're Fusion, HH Telly Hardtail, and the DC Junior Fat. Impeccable guitars, but I'm somewhat of a brand snob, so I'm always left wanting. But gotta be honest, I was a bit regretful when I sold them. I do think they just make great stuff for the, you know, for not a lot of money. Okay, so finally, that took a long time for me to open that box because I came back to the chat. Okay, so now we've got the inevitable onslaught of packing materials. Ah, there's another box in here. Now, I actually forgot about this episode. So I'm going to put that to one side, and then we'll talk about that in a bit. There's actually something else in here that I completely forgot that Harley Benton was sending me. Okay. So, we open one box, and we have another box. So, I'm also being very mindful here that there's a 3 Grand Martin sat behind me, because I don't really want to throw a box and knock that thing over. Okay. I need a bigger studio. Anyone want to help me buy a bigger studio? Because I could do with a room. I could do with a space. Okay. Right, okay. Box is ready to open. So what I'm actually going to do first of all is I'm actually going to pull up the Harley Benton website, and I'm going to show you guys what should be in this box. So I don't know what's in the, well, I know what I've asked them to send me, and I know what should be in this box. So what should be in this box is this, as Jared rightly pointed out. So this is the Harley Benton MR Modern. So this is their take on the classic Mosrite guitar. It's very popular with surf bands, but also bands like the Ramones played this thing. It's a really interesting, kind of quirky offset shape. I hadn't seen anyone play one for a long time until I went to see Aerosmith a few years ago, and Joe Perry was using one, and it kind of reminded me that, yeah, they are quite cool. So there are 2 versions of this. There's the modern one, which is 2 humbuckers, vintage trem. I think it's got a coil tap. It's got the 2 humbuckers, but they're P90 size humbuckers, so they should be a little bit snappier than regular humbuckers. And yeah, I think it's got a coil split as well, 3-way switch. Yes, push-pull for coil tap. There's also a classic version of this guitar, which is the same thing, but it's got P90s and a hardtail bridge. So I went for the trem with the mini humbuckers. The classic one is just 2 P90s, and that doesn't have any additional switching things. So that's just 3-way switch with a pair of P90s. So what should be in the box is that guitar in that color. So now we're going to find out if that's true. So let's have a look. Everything Julian Lage does is of interest to me. His signature Gretsch Collins is to die for. I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check that out. You've told me about his playing before, though. Okay, I can confirm the colours right. So, oops. We're onto something here. First brand I can think of who put stainless steel frets on budget guitars. They probably are. I remember when stainless steel frets started arriving in the sort of the sub £1,000 mark, and that was really cool. But Harley Benton have taken it even further and, you know, put it for less than £350, which is incredible. My cat gets more excited than me. My cat gets more excited than me with the box than me with the guitar. We need a man shed. I do. I need a bigger house. That's what I need. I need more space to move around. Okay. So my backdrop for this live stream is just going to be cardboard boxes. Eventually into the surf styling. See what I did there? Good one. I like that. I used to have an Eastwood 12-string side jack. Looks just like this one. Drum roll. It's going to be a long drum roll because this stuff is the worst. Why guitar companies pack guitars in this horrible sticky stuff, I don't know. No drummers here, thank goodness. Drummers are always welcome though, but they do have to be aware that we may make fun. Okay. There it is. So the Harley Benton MR Modern Vintage Series. So do you know what? First impressions, it's actually heavier than I thought it was going to be. All the other Bentons I've played have not been that heavy, but this is quite weighty. This is actually quite a heavy guitar. So obviously it's covered in all the usual plastic rubbish that we hate. So let's get that off straight away. Don't need that on there. I always hate the job of peeling plastic off pick guards because you can never get the bits from under the volume pots. So I didn't know, based on the photos online, that this is actually a glitter finish as well. I thought this was a solid blue, but it's actually, if we can get the camera to focus there, it's actually a glitter blue, which is very nice. So yeah, heavier than anticipated. What's it made from? It's an alder body with Canadian maple in a natural satin finish and a Macassa ebony fretboard. Very nice. So it's quite a light wood. It looks like rosewood. I can see Quicksilver just said, is that rosewood? It looks like, but it's Macassa ebony apparently. So it's not super dark like you'd expect ebony to be. Funky looking guitar. Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? It's sort of, it's an interesting shape. It's not an everyday shape, but it's really cool. I'm liking that colour, shows off the German carve well. Yeah, it does. I was kind of torn on the colours because this is available in, it's available in a few different colours. You've got like sunburst, black, white, and blue. But I thought the blue was quite nice because it's a little bit different. And got some plastic on the back as well, so let's get that out of the way. Okay, so yeah, first impressions. I mean, the fret ends are really, really well done. I kind of wish you guys could feel this to actually see that, because the amount of guitars in this price point that you buy that have a little bit of overhang there, this doesn't have any of it. That is literally really smooth. Some of probably the best frets I've experienced on a guitar for the price of £298. That's a really good price. And obviously there's the colours as well. So you've got white, red, I didn't mention the red, sunburst, black. So yeah, really, really good frets. Neck is a, they call it a modern C. I would probably say it's a little chunkier. It's a little bit fatter than a modern slim neck, I think. But yeah, nice though. The satin finish is really well done. There's a nice volute on the headstock there. Lock and tuners on the back. That's always a nice plus. Obviously this is a bolt-on neck. I can't believe the weight on it, actually. I'm really surprised how heavy this thing is. I was genuinely expecting it to... It's not far out of tune either. I was genuinely expecting it to be quite light, because all the Bentons I've played have been quite light. So let's tune it up. One thing that some Harley Bentons have, I've not experienced this with mine, but sometimes they have scratchy frets. These frets are, I mean, wow. They're super smooth. That feels like it's had like a professional fret job. Action wise, the action is good. I like a higher action, so for me personally, that action is pretty much spot on. Some people who don't like a higher action may find the out-of-the-box action a little too high for their taste, but like I said, I do personally like a slightly higher action. Set up with a little bit of neck relief, just the way I like it. The trem is really nicely balanced. First impressions are really good. So, I'm going to unmute my guitar now. And hopefully, it's going to sound good. A little bit out of tune. Let's tune it up again. Obviously, it's literally just come out the box. The good thing is it has had a week to acclimatize in the house, but the downside is it had a week to acclimatize and then it got really hot. So again, we may see some tuning slippage because this guitar is now being subjected to punishing heat. Quicksilver, thank you so much for the bigger studio fund and more live streams. Thank you very much. That really, really helps, and obviously very much appreciated. All the donations that people give on this live stream and on the channel in general all go to helping me put more and more time into the channel anyway, so obviously thank you very much. Okay, so that should stay in tune now. Let's try. Really sparkly, really nice. Let me know if the guitar volume is too loud or too quiet. So some really nice tones there. There's a little tagger on there as well that says it's got a push-pull. Nice little feature. And it's got a trem as well. So the trem is a Wilkinson VWS 52K. That's probably a good trem. It's floating, vintage style, non-lock-in, two-point tremolo. Wilkinson trems are pretty good. And this has got a tusk nut as well, so the trem should be, you know, pretty stable. Really nice. I really like these soap bar sized humbuckers. They're a little narrower, so you get the full range of what a humbucker does, but you get the slightly narrower field gives you a tone a little bit more akin to like a P90 or a kind of like a Filtertron. Quicksilver wants to see the wiggle stick. Okay, let's do it. Let's get the trem arm on. And oops, I ripped the silica gel packet open. Do not eat or open pack. Well, I've already ruined one of those guidelines, but I'm not going to eat it though. That's we'll save that for another live stream. Maybe. Okay, so they've stapled that shut as well. That's okay. I just want the Allen key. That's all I want. So far the guitar has really impressed me. So in theory, if the whammy bar is really good, and we've got the full set. Now, okay, so they haven't actually provided the right size Allen key for the bridge, but luckily I've got my toolkit nearby. So whenever you've got these vintage style trem arms, you always need a really small Allen key to get in there and tighten it up. And that should be pretty good. Okay, so let's see if we can ruin the tuning like Quicksilver wanted. Quite a limited range on that trem, actually. It only goes down to there. Like, I can't push that any further. I'm guessing that's just to do with the cavity carve. It goes up way further than it goes down. Sort of like a Bigsby-esque kind of action. Now, obviously, we have gone out of tune. Not much, but we have gone out. Let's have a look. Where have we gone? The E is in. B has gone sharp. The G has gone way sharp. The D is massively sharp, nearly a semitone out. As is the A. As is the E. So, okay. So, that's the first negative point. The trem is pulling out of tune. But that could be the heat. That could be the strings aren't stretched in. And I did really hammer it then. And obviously, you don't buy this to dive bomb like a Floyd. I may even bolt the bridge down on this thing and just use it kind of as a really cool kind of power chord punk rock thing. But that's a nice trem though. It's very smooth. The action's nice. I can't remember how to play that now. That's a nice trem. I always like the feel of Wilkinson trems. Good choice on the colour. I think they dropped the ball with the sunburst, as I personally hate seeing poor book matching on the body. I haven't actually checked out the sunburst ones properly. I guess maybe with the book matching you may get lucky. You may get one that's really well book matched. But again, like with all kind of affordable guitars, you may also get some that aren't nice book matched. It sounds very good. Yeah, it sounds great. Really surprised actually how nice it is out the box. That's really cool. I kind of knew it would be decent because obviously I've played a few Bentons, but yeah, that really kind of exceeds expectation there. It's Goldilocks just right. Yeah, you're not going to play any Van Halen on this thing, but you know, it'll do what it does really well. By the way, did you buy that guitar and did Thomann send it for review tryout? So this was sent to me by Thomann. So I didn't pay for it, but Harley Benton sent it to me because I'm going to be doing a full-length video on this guitar. So I asked them for one of these. So they sent it over. But yeah, I thought I would unbox it on the live stream, so I wanted you guys to see the first thing before we really dig into the review. And as I mentioned earlier in the stream, the reason I'm doing that is because I have been asked a few times by people if I've set my Bentons up before shooting my videos, or if I've done anything to the guitars prior to shooting. And I wanted to kind of dispel that myth by literally opening it on the live stream so you could see, you know, this is what you get out the box. The only thing I did was before I shot the video for this, it arrived with a broken E string. So I changed the strings on it. But the guitar, in fact, this guitar, the Fusion, is actually still set up the way that it came out of the box. The only thing I did was literally change the strings on it because it came with a broken string. Nice punch to it, good sound. It does have a nice punch, and in a moment we're going to kick on some gain and hear it with more punch. That tremolo with some slap back, Ryan Burke would love it. I guess Ryan probably has one of these. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I'm guessing he probably has one because he does a lot of stuff for Benton as well. I'd be surprised if he hasn't got one of these. Actually, no, I want to see you snap it like Henning did with that boutique guitar. Oh man, that was tense. The guitar that Henning broke the trem on was a really, really great guitar. It's actually been bought now. I met up with Chris from CMG Guitars. He's the guy that builds those guitars, at another trade show a couple of months back. And I was looking at the guitar there as well, because I liked that guitar from the moment he first showed it to me. But someone actually bought it at the show, which I was really glad because Chris sold the guitar, but I was gutted because I wanted it, because it's a really nice guitar. But yeah, Henning did really do a number on that trem. He took that trem and played it like he was 1978 Eddie Van Halen, and that trem arm knew all about it. Nice blue. Yeah, it's a really nice colour blue. I don't know what we'd call that colour blue. I don't know if Harley Benton have an official colour name for this. What are they calling this? There must be a colour name for it. Metallic blue gloss. There we go. Nothing too crazy. Straight to the point. It's a really nice looking guitar. I like that I have no associations with this guitar shape. Blank canvas regarding what styles to play on it for me. That's always nice. I have very little association with this shape. Obviously, this is a shape that's used a lot for surf rock and kind of surf guitar, but also the Ramones. But really, yeah, it's not a shape you see very often. Like I said earlier, my last kind of association with this was seeing Joe Perry from Aerosmith play one. Not the Harley Benton one, of course, but this shape guitar. But yeah, it's nice to have a blank canvas because you're not kind of... Or I guess, if not a blank canvas, at least something a little bit more unusual, because then you're not tied into a set thing. It's not, you know, oh, I have to play this style of music because it's this shaped guitar. I think the only thing I do is get the bridge down to the body so it's non-floating. I'm toying with that. Whether or not I'm going to use it as, like I said earlier, like get that bridge down, get some extra springs in the trem and just bolt it down. I may leave the trem though. I don't know. That's going to be a work in progress. I thought initially I was going to do that. It's just going to bolt it down and be done with it. But I do quite like the trem, so yeah, maybe it'll stay. I'm looking for a Purple Sparkle Fusion 3 with a floating trem. The Purple Sparkle ones are amazing. I was really torn between the Purple Sparkle one and this, and I ended up going for this one. But I really want... I may go back and, you know, see if I can get my hands on one of the Purple Sparkle ones as well. The whammy wasn't created correctly. Many ways to make steel. Maybe Henning's just really strong. Maybe Henning is just like superhuman. Maybe there's that as well. Cardiff City Blue. Joe Perry is a Dan Electro one, doesn't he? I guess so, yeah. Probably Dan Electro. His is probably one of the, you know, the vintage ones. Nice and old. I remember seeing Henning's expression when the tremolo arm just came off in his hand. He looked genuinely confused. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of confused as well because we were just jamming. I mean, well, you saw we were jamming on the live stream, and I just looked at him and he was holding a tremolo arm, and I thought, my initial thought was, he's taken the tremolo arm off, and he's showing me that he's taken it off, which didn't make sense to me at first. That's why it kind of took me a moment to actually laugh, because I thought he was just showing me the fact that he'd taken the tremolo arm off. But then I thought, wait, he's broke it. And then obviously hilarity ensued. But yeah, that was really funny. Luckily, Chris, that built the guitar, saw the funny side of it. He's a really nice guy, really chilled. Luckily, he saw the funny side of that. But yeah, I kind of felt sorry for him because it's a really nice guitar. But what are you going to do? Coil split. Coil split on the tone control. You can't quite see it there because it's just out of shot. Pull that up and it coil splits. That's nice. It's quite stiff, which is good because obviously it's not going to slip live. The coil split, there's no coil split on the volume, so just the tone. That will do both pickups in single coil mode. I'd maybe like to see separate splits because you could have a single and a humbucker, but you know, in this price point. So single coil tones, very nice, snappy. Neck. That's kind of stratty, which is nice. Oh, that wasn't the neck, actually. That was in between. Now the neck. I like that in-between setting. It's really nice and chimey. I'm a fan. Gain time. I've got the 1-plug gearbox in front of me. Kick on the low gain side, which is like a clon circuit. Bridge humbucker. Here we go. Wow. Those pickups have got a bit of kick to them. They are... What are the pickups? They're probably Roswell's. Artec. Artec AHC90 Soap Bar Alnico 5 humbucker pickups. That's a mouthful, but they're really nice sounding. Now, you can really hear the difference actually between the narrow field of these pickups versus a traditional humbucker, because a traditional humbucker has a lot more low end. These have got the tightness of a humbucker, but the fact that they're narrower, obviously it's a snappier tone. Kind of like a hum cancelling P90, because the vintage spec version of this that Harley Benton are doing comes loaded with 2 P90s. Now really, if I coil split it, it's probably not going to sound too different to the P90 version. That's probably a fairly similar sound to what you get there from the vintage version. Obviously a P90 would be slightly fatter, so it would be in between these humbuckers and the coil split sound of this guitar. So you could probably even get away with just turning the tone control down a bit. Swim away amped. Feats of Strength GS4. Maybe that's going to be the theme of this year's Gear Street. Maybe it's going to be Henning trying to break guitars. Hopefully Gear Street is not as hot as this room is right now. Just looked, Joe Perry plays the off-the-shelf current Dan Electro with the Mosrite shape. Really an off-the-shelf current one. That's interesting. I didn't think Joe would have had any modern guitars in his arsenal. Steve Vai's the only other person I've seen or heard of breaking a trem arm. He would have broken like an Ibanez or a Floyd style trem as well, which is even more robust than a vintage trem, because vintage trem arms tend to have the weakness in the sort of the screw joint. So they're a little bit easier to break because the metal's weaker there where the sort of the thread is put in. But to break like a Floyd or an Ibanez Edge style trem, that must have been interesting. I'd like to actually see a video of that, because that sounds impressive. It sounds very versatile. Yeah, it feels very versatile. It can do a lot of sounds. It looks pretty sweet. The Ventures and Ramones, maybe Kurt Cobain tunes of that shape of guitar, approachable songs. But with something like Brian May's Red Special, you have to just play Queen tunes. It would look silly playing anything else on a Red Special. Yeah, that's true. I've never actually seen anyone gig a Red Special other than for playing Queen stuff. Sounds great. Have to disappear now. Have fun with the rest of the live stream. Thanks for tuning in, Hannah. See you soon. Thanks as always. Peter Grant, seems like there's not much volume drop when you split the coils. Yeah, there's not. It's not. Obviously there's a bit. I guess what you're hearing more than anything there is the low end drop, because we're removing a coil. But yeah, volume wise, not a huge difference. Which again, that's bonus points. Those humbuckers sound really, really nice. Let's see how they sound with a bit of drive on the split set end. The heat is affecting my note choice. I like those pickups. That's my first experience with these pickups. I really like them. I think they sound great. That trem is holding tune pretty well now. Obviously, I'm not giving it a ton of abuse, but... Alright, okay. Okay. Thank you, Trem, for making me look like an idiot, because I just spoke highly of you and you went out of tune. But yeah, let's blame the heat again. Let's blame the sun. It's too hot for a guitar to stay in tune today. But yeah, this is very versatile. I mean, the typical thing would be obviously like, let's play punk on this thing. But, you know, coil split, middle pickup. And we're in Blues Town. Really cool. Sounds very SG with P90s, which makes sense. Oh, I missed the comment before. There's a fella from Bridgend area who gigs a Red Special in a pub band, played all sorts on it. Huge Brian fan. I suppose, yeah, they are versatile guitars, really, because it's 3 pickups that you can switch on and off at the same time and in and out of phase, which is very useful. Speaking of switching pickups, bit of a slight diversion, but I posted a video the other day from the British Boutique Guitar Festival this year in, when do we go? February. I'm losing track of time now because I'm going again in 2 weeks because Mike's doing another one. But in the February show, there was a guy they called Blair who runs a company called Greenheart Guitars from Scotland. And he had this purple guitar that I did a video on. I posted it just last week. And it has 5 mini humbuckers, all Seymour Duncan. And each one has an on and an off switch down here with a humbucker or a single coil option. So you can have any infinite number of pickup combinations on at once. So you can basically make it sound like any guitar. You can flip different single coils on or different humbuckers on. There's 5 of them. All in all, there's like 243 pickup combinations. We were limited in the video to 168 because not only did Henning break the whammy bar on another guitar, but he also broke one of the coil split switches on that guitar at the same event. So we were limited to like 168 pickup combinations, which, you know, as you know, is not enough tones. We need more. We need the full 234. But yeah, that kind of reminded me of it then when saying about the Red Special pickup switching. Just looked at the Lefty Sunburst on Toman's page. Clearly a 3-4 piece body from the book matching. Looks like my living room floor with clearly defined seams where they glued the pieces together. It could just be that that's the model they took a picture of. What you could do, if you were really interested in the Sunburst one, is give Toman a call or a message and ask them if they can check out the finishes before they ship it. Because those guys are pretty cool. They'd probably do that for you. Might be worth a look. Got a scoot. Have a great week. See you soon, man. Thanks for dropping by. option paralysis in guitar form. It is kind of option paralysis, but at the same time, I was thinking about how incredibly useful that is, because you could literally take that guitar to a gig and it's like, okay, I need a Strat position 4 sound. Put 2 of those pickups on in single coil mode. Now I need a bridge humbucker. Put that on in single coil mode. Now I need 3 humbuckers on at once, like Ace Frehley. Put those 3 humbuckers on. You could literally make that guitar sound like any other guitar, and that's what I thought was really interesting about it, because you could say, okay, all the pickups off except for the neck single coil and the bridge single coil. And then, because there's no pickup switches, just switch each pickup on or off in humbucker or single mode. So if you just put the neck and bridge in single coil mode, it sounds like a telly in the middle position. So there's all these different kind of guitar tones you can dial in on the one guitar. That's what I thought was really cool about it. Is I could imagine taking that to a gig and being like, right, this is it. This is every guitar in the world in one. Quite nice. More gain. More gain again. Too much gain. I've been a bit too over enthusiastic there. I've bumped in on a tune again now. The tuning thing is not really the guitar's fault. It's literally just come out of the box, obviously. So those strings need a bit of setting in. And I'm really kind of going hard on it here. So let's see if we can get this to stay in. A couple more stretches and I think we'll be there. So it seems to handle gain pretty well actually though, even though I literally just slammed some on there. That's the Marshall stack in a box side of the gearbox there. You need a cheat sheet on your set list of settings, but man, it would be a tone machine. Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of guitar that you probably wouldn't switch too much in the middle of songs because there's so many options. But the way I was kind of looking at it was, I need a Strat for this song, or I need a Les Paul for this song, or I need a Telly for this song. And you can kind of set up the guitar for those songs. That's sort of the way I was envisioning the way that would be used. I actually can't believe how smooth the frets are on this thing. That's actually really, really surprised me. Even the tone control down, it's still very, very usable. So the bridge pickup actually gets a lot quieter when you turn the tone down. But it kind of does that Eric Clapton thing nicely. I'm really, really impressed by this thing, I gotta say. Single coil neck pickup with more gain. kind of cut to that tone. Yeah, really, really into this. This is a great guitar. Harley Benton, you guys have done incredibly well on this thing. I mean, wow. I can't believe this is like 300 quid. I'm really, really impressed by this. And yeah, hopefully what I'm hearing is coming across to you guys on the stream as well, because it sounds really, really good. What other tones can we get out of this thing? It seems to handle gain really well, especially when you stack it up. Yeah, I'm really, really, really impressed. I bet it sounds incredible with fuzz. I bet it does. And now you're tempting me. You're tempting me to plug a fuzz in. I know you are. So I'm going to plug a fuzz in. We probably want to stack the fuzz, don't we, with the gain. So let me just move my third camera out of the way. Okay, I'm going to take my modulation off. And I'm going to put some fuzz in. Beatronics Octahive. And a camera not focusing. There we go. This, I mean, obviously, I've talked about this thing a lot. I love this fuzz. So that's what I'm going to plug in. So I'm just going to reroute my gearbox so it's no longer first in the chain. Now, what I like about the Octahive is it doubles as a regular fuzz. So you can switch off the octave, which obviously gives it that little bit more versatility. So okay, I don't know what this is set to. Regular fuzz mode. Nice. Let's get a bit more though. Whoa, okay. Now we're getting fuzzy. Pretty loud. Let me know how that sounds, because I don't know if I'm overloading the preamps here, because I'm really giving that fuzz quite a kick into the front of the amp. The amp I'm using, you can't see, is behind there. I'm using the Blackstar St. James 6L6, completely clean. So when you hear the clean guitar, it's that amp straight through the 2 notes Captor X. That's so fuzzy. There's so much fuzz in this thing. Octave up. Neck pickup turned down. Single coil mode. regular fuzz. That cleans up. Wow, that cleans up nicely too. So I've actually got the fuzz and the overdrive on there. That cleans up incredibly nice, actually. There's a noise gate on, so when you're hearing that choppy thing, the gearbox has a noise gate built in, which is very useful, but also it does cut out. So if I turn the noise gate off, I can actually do that without it cutting out. With the noise gate on, when you play quiet, see, it just cuts. Let's turn the noise gate off for this. I mean, I gotta say, I'm really impressed. I know I've said that a few times, but yeah, every kind of tone I throw at this thing seems to just impress me more and more. The craftsmanship is great. I mean, obviously we take into consideration it is a 300-pound guitar, but the nut is cut well. There's no kind of overhang. Obviously lock and tune is great. Frets are incredible. The trem is holding pretty well considering, you know, it's still acclimatizing and whatnot. But yeah, really impressed with that. What do you guys think of that? How do you guys feel about hearing a Harley Benton out the box for the first time? How does that kind of dispel some of the myth that people are doing a lot of work on them before they're shooting videos? I got a feeling this is going to end up getting gigged. Yeah, me too. It's not really... I mean, it's versatile. I mean, I could gig it technically for all the stuff I regularly do. Because, you know, single coil mode, you can play some funk on it. I mean, we play mostly like clean, funky stuff in the function band. I could do that with this, technically. Yeah, I kind of just want to crank it, though. You know, I like that bridge humbucker. Yeah, that kind of makes me want to just crank the gain and get stuck in a little bit. But yeah, what a cool guitar. I'm into that. So I'm going to take a break from rambling about this thing now, because I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about when I actually shoot my video. I'm going to talk about the other thing that was in the box that I completely forgot was even there. Maybe an excuse to do a punk covers band with me. Yes, let's do it. New York Dolls, Ramones, all the good stuff. I've got a Les Paul Jr. as well that I'm just dying to take out for gigs, so perfect excuse. Let's make that happen. This is actually something that I've been talking for a long time actually with Harley Benton about doing a video on, and just, you know, supply chain issues because of COVID and Brexit and all the other stuff going on in the world meant that I couldn't get my hands on one of these things. And I completely forgot that it was even coming. So Harley Benton released something called the DNA FX Git Pro, or GIT Pro. This is kind of their take on like the Helix Headrush kind of vibe. So it's an all-in-one amp modeler, multi-effects processor sort of thing. So yeah, I've been actually waiting a long time to get my hands on one of these. So let's open it up. So it looks pretty good actually. It looks nice and compact. This is one of those things that have a feeling I'm probably going to end up gig testing at some point because it looks good, and it's probably going to fill a lot of what I need as a gigging guitar player. So let's have a look. So there we go. The DNA Effects GIT Pro. It's quite nice. It's got 4-foot switches. It's got a tuner built in, a looper. Obviously you can bank between things. I'm not sure if it's touchscreen. It's got an expression pedal. Stereo XLR outputs, which is incredibly useful. MIDI functionality. Runs off 9 volt at 1 amp. You can loop pedals in here, I believe. It's got an amp control out, an aux in, an effects loop, a regular 1/4-inch jack, stereo output as well, headphone out, USB, built-in ground loop. Really cool. Really, really cool. So, I don't even think there's any specs on the box, so I'm going to look this up on the website so I can show you guys what it is. Okay, let's find it on the website first of all. So it's going to be under Effects, and it is there. I'm not even sure what these retail at. Oh, there we go. £245. So this is actually cheaper than the guitar, which is insane. So this thing is a stack of virtual amps and modelled boutique effects, hyper-accurate cab sims with IR load-in, advanced amp control, USB recording, a suite of practice features. Really cool. So we've got, let's have a look at the spec here. We've got a lot of things going on. We have a wide selection of amplifiers. Don't know what they are, but probably, you know, all the usual things. Marshalls, Fenders, Oranges, all that kind of stuff we usually get in an amp modeler. Expression volume pedal, IR speaker simulation for recording in front of house applications. That makes it really interesting for me because I gig at the moment exclusively with a silent pedal board. So my actual pedal board, I can actually show you because it's right next to me, is actually size-wise not too dissimilar. It's actually a little bit bigger than this thing. So my current gigging board, which is actually half taken apart right now, is this. And this normally lives on the end. So not at that angle, it doesn't though. So that's my current gigging pedal board. This is what I take with me everywhere I go for gigs. I'm using the Blackstar Department 10 dual drive as my amp. So it's got a clean and a drive side. So I'm literally using that as a clean and a dirty channel for the amp. And then the HX Stomp XL I'm using for everything else. So I've got a patch set up on here with 6 effects, as it were. So I'm treating this like a pedal board in front of an amp. I've got a boost. I'm trying to memorize the foot switches from memory now. They all appear on the screen, so I know what they are when I'm doing them live, and I've got them color-coded. I've got a boost, which is like a 5 dB clean boost, just to cut above. That, I believe, is King of Tone. That, I believe, is set to a Klon. And then back row, I've got a delay, which is linked to the tap tempo, which is like a vintagey slapback kind of thing, which I just use as a textural thing. That is a chorus that I've got on a very low setting, just as a kind of a thickener or like a sweetener when I'm playing clean. Sometimes I use it for leads as well. I can tap tempo that, but I think I disabled the tap tempo. And then this button, this is kind of the reason I'm using this pedal, this is the magic thing. This is a pitch shifter that takes my guitar semitone down, because we play some songs that are recorded in E flat. Now instead of carrying an E flat guitar with me, I can literally just hit this button and it detunes my entire sound by a semitone. So my guitar is still in the same tuning, but because we don't use amps on stage, I go straight from the XLR out, or sometimes I'll use the jack out through a DI box depending on noise issues at the venue and whatnot. But that will literally take me down a semitone, so you don't hear anything because the PA is doing all the work. If the PA was to go off, you'd hear my guitar in standard tuning. So that's my regular pedal board. This thing's actually like, you know, three quarters of the size. So really cool. So yeah, this thing is going to be packed full of features. Good lord. Hey Eric, how's it going? I think it's a more GE250. It's the same kind of thing. It's sort of the same ballpark. Probably made by the same people. A lot of these things tend to come from the same place. So yeah, it's got all the things we'd expect though. So compressor, EQ, wah, auto wah, all via the expression pedal, harmonizer, overdrive, distortion, chorus, flanger, phaser, rotary speaker, tremolo, reverb with different modes, delay with multiple settings, and a noise suppressor. And I believe you can probably edit on your computer as well. I'm not sure if it's touchscreen or not. I'm guessing not in this price range. I'd be very, very surprised if it was touchscreen. Just its 5-inch colour display. It would be cool if it was touchscreen, but yeah, I don't think it is for this price. But yeah, that's going to be fun. £245 multi-effects unit there from Harley Benton. This is sort of a new venture for them, which is really, really exciting actually, because they're kind of branching out into these portable rigs. I mean, for what I do, this is perfect because I could literally take this anywhere with me and all I need is an XLR cable. That's my rig. Now, I travel a lot for gigs, so traveling light is quite essential. If you fly anywhere, you just put it in your case and you take your whole rig with you. It's like a lighter version of the Helix Headrush kind of vibe. Yeah, really cool. I reckon we plug it in. Yeah, let's plug it in. Let's see what happens. I don't know how it's going to sound, so I'm just going to caveat that with that fact. Right, what do we got? I need to plug it in. So oh no, I can't plug it in because it only comes with a European plug, and I don't think I have an adapter for that handy at the moment. So actually I can't plug it in, which is quite annoying. I don't have my adapters handy, and I don't know what I've done with them. I had them because obviously I've literally just come back from Europe, and I don't know where I've put them. Okay, so sorry, scratch that. I can't plug it in because I haven't got the adapter handy. We'll plug it in next week. We'll plug it in on the next live stream for definite. I promise you guys that. I will find the adapter by then. Not on my desk, so yeah. Sorry guys. Sorry for the false start on that one. If I knew where the adapters were, I would plug that thing straight in. I'm just scanning just in case I'm missing something. But yes. My bad. NUX amp modeling pedal landfill. It's not a NUX, it's Harley Benton, but are you saying that the NUX one is landfill? I haven't actually tried the NUX one. I was speaking to them about doing a video on the NUX one. I think it's called the MG30 or something like that. But again, we couldn't get one because of all the shipping problems, and like there's a part shortage. So basically they couldn't get them to ship them out to other people. So we haven't done a video on that, but it's the same kind of vibe. I'm attempting to put together a stereo NUX Amp Academy ×2. How would you do it? How would you hook them up? How would you hook up the wet dry pedals? How to split them? Good question. So how are you going to be running the amps? I think is an important part to that. So are you going to be running the two of them into like a recording interface? Or again, if you're going to be gigging with them, are they both going to go to the PA? What's the sort of the plan for how those are going to be run? Because I think how you run them will determine then how you plug everything in front. Because obviously the wet dry thing, if you're going full stereo, the options you have in terms of wet dry could be like extreme panning, so you could have wet dry, or you could wet dry a little bit more central. How I would do it, whenever I run stereo, I don't really play stereo as such. I am more of a dual mono kind of guy, so I will use two amps for tonal variation, but I'll hit the amps with the same stuff. Sometimes you'll get a pedal with like a stereo out, and that will kind of have some kind of stereo effect, but it's not like a true stereo. I like the dual mono thing because I like having 2 amps with the same stuff going into them, but a slightly different tonal output. But if you're going full stereo, I mean, you could even find a pedal that is a fully stereo pedal, so like a digital delay that runs complete stereo, and put that as your split before the 2 amp academies. Then you'd get wet on both sides, but it would be a stereo wet. Or the other option, as I said, would be to split earlier in the chain and have the wet stuff go to 1. What you would need, if you wanted to send only the wet effects to one of them, you would need something like an ABY box. So obviously there's a ton of really affordable ones out there. I'm even going to look one up on Thomann for you right now. So anything like this would work. So like a Fender ABY foot switch, £27. That one's even cheaper. The Leadfoot ABY, £15.90. Obviously you could splurge a little and get the Leigh if you wanted to drop nearly, £170 on one. But if you literally just wanted it to split the signal in half, these Fender ones are pretty good. Even the more ABY is a small one. There's not much kind of real estate needed there. But what that would basically do is that would take whatever you put into it and split it out into a Y. Now that's where the wet dry thing would be useful, because what I would do is I would place that after all your sort of drive effects, basically the stuff you don't want to split into wet dry. So if I was setting the board up, it would be like things like, obviously I'm guessing here what you're using. I don't know your full signal chain, but for me it's like pitch shifters and compression and stuff at the front of the chain, fuzzes, overdrives. Then for the wet dry thing, that's where your splitter box would go. So what would then happen is the splitter box would send the dry signal, dry being your drives, to 1 amp, and then after the splitter box coming out the other side, then you'd put like your choruses, your flangers, your delays, reverb, maybe if you want reverb in 1 amp. That's where you would put those things. So then the signal would only go one side with the wet stuff. Obviously there's a million and one variations on what you can do with that. The reason I personally don't do that is because I don't like the wet dry thing. For me, I just like, if I use 2 amps, I like them both to do the same thing with the same stuff going to both of them. I kind of know where I stand then. Johnny Marr would probably have dabbled in a wet dry thing at some point. Obviously big kind of chorus and modulation kind of guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he had something going on there with a wet dry thing. I like my new X Crunch pedal, or Plexi Crunch, sorry, and I've got a Made in England Marshall Governor. Sounds great to me. The Plexi Crunch is meant to be really good. I haven't tried that one, but from the same series I have the Dumbly one, which is I can't remember what they call it, the steel string something, which is kind of visually a kind of copy of the Vertex one, but tonally it's nothing like. It's more like a Tube Screamer, which is nothing like a Dumble. In the lower settings, it kind of does that John Mayer-y thing, but yeah, when you kind of start cranking it, obviously you're long gone. Made in England Marshall Governor, those are insane. The Governor is really good. I got offered one for a really good price a few years ago, and I didn't buy it, and I wish I did, because I think I got offered probably what you've got, which is an original one. I got offered one for like 150 quid, something like that. It was a stupid price, and I wish I'd bought the thing, because they don't come up for that price. I do, however, have a Made in England Marshall Bluesbreaker, which again, I got that for a stupid price as well, and that I'll never part with. You can just see the bottom of it right there, but I'll never part with that one. But they are, allegedly, Thomann kind of leaked them, they're reissuing them as modern pedals. I'm guessing not made in England anymore. But that would be cool to see them back in the old form, not in the... Because they did them again in those kind of little bubble-shaped pedals they did for a while. But they're actually... they're reissuing the old style in the old big black boxes. I'm looking forward to those coming back, because they're going to be like 130 quid or something. But yeah, I think they'll be popular. But I don't think they'll be made in England. I want to get one, though, just to compare it against the original one. Honestly, the absolute best drive pedal I've ever played. They are cool. For me, the Governor was always a little bit too high gain. But the ones I've tried, they're great, and I like the sound of it, but I just never I never gelled with the sound of it personally, but I did enjoy playing them, just for the experience. I had a Governor bust with it. You're a brave man taking it out busking, because I never take my Blues Breaker anywhere, purely because I'd just be afraid it would get broke because of the age. You're brave for taking that one out on the streets and busking with it, because I wouldn't have done that. I got the Blues Breaker 2, but I'd love a proper reissue. Now, that's a conversation we're going to have. We're going to have to compare the Blues Breaker 2 to the Blues Breaker 1, because I haven't played the modern one. I've only played the original one. So if you've got the modern one, I say modern, they're still like 20 years old. I want to try it. I want to see how it stacks up against the original, because that line of Marshall pedals, when they kind of came back and did those smaller format pedals, I've got the tremolo from that range here somewhere, but I think it's in a box somewhere. When they did that sort of slightly smaller form of those pedals, they weren't that popular at first, and they were quite affordable. I remember they were like, at one point you could pick them up for about £30 a go. But the tremolo sounded great. I haven't tried the Blues Breaker, obviously, but I heard the delay as well. There was a delay one, if I remember right, and that sounded pretty good too. I want a Princeton, but I can't afford one. Yeah, me too, Eric. I love a Princeton. It's one of those amps that I really want one, because I just love the sound of those kind of small Fender amps. But I don't know if I have enough use to justify buying one, because it kind of does like one thing really well, and I don't do that thing enough. It's the same reason I don't own like a real kind of tweed amp, because I love the sound of tweed amps, but it's a specific sound, and I don't use that sound 95% of the time that I play. For the 5% of the time I'd love to have one, but I can't really justify having one that I'm not going to use. I've got a Sonic ABY, but haven't played with it yet. It was a great price, so I bought it and may hook it up after hearing you guys talk about it. It's cool. It's a cool thing, Dennis, because you can mess about with how you split things, and you can use ABY pedals to send signals different places. What is quite cool to try, I've done this with some rigs, I don't tend to do this too often, but I have done it, is if I have a pedal with a stereo input somewhere in the chain, I might put two different things going into that simultaneously for like different blends. I don't do it a lot, but I have done it, like different drives into a reverb or something. But yeah, the ABY is great if you want to split into wet dry. My first ever pedal was the Governor, plus still got it somewhere. I have to shoot those out too. That's a video for when I moved in. Yes, definitely. That's definitely a video for when you moved in. My Governor Plus was 30 quid brand new in Gamlin's in 2001. Wow. See, I mean, yeah, they weren't expensive. You could pick them up really, really cheap. I should say I'm running all new X pedalboard, guitar, intertuner, the Massamune compressor, the Fireman, the Acetone, Horseman, and then the Atlantic for the delay reverb, which has a stereo out. So I'm guessing you want... So, right, okay, so if you've got the Atlantic, which obviously is stereo out, there's two things you could do there. So first of all, do you want the delay and reverb to only go one side? I'm guessing so if you want wet dry. So if so, it's before that point that you put your ABY box. So your ABY would go into both your... I can't remember the name of the amp pedal, but the amp version, pedal, whatever that thing is, I can't remember the name of it. But in between the ABY box and one of those amps, that's where you put your Atlantic. And then you'd get delay and reverb in one and not in the other. No, there's not, is there? I was going to say, is there a way to split the delay and reverb left and right, but there's not. But that would be a cool feature, because then you can send the reverb to one and the delay to the other, but you can't do that, can you, with the Atlantic, if I remember right? The Atlantic's great, though. Really, really good pedal. That was the first New X pedal I ever tried, and I still actually take it out and gig it from time to time. I'm flipping between a lot of different reverbs all the time, because I can't quite decide what I want. And sometimes the Atlantic is just the one that does it for me. I can put it up against something like I don't know where it is right now, but I have the Walrus Audio, what's the Walrus Audio one called? The R1, the Mako R1. And that's a fantastic reverb, but it's very complicated. And sometimes the Atlantic just does it like a little bit better, because it's simple. It's like 2 controls and there's your sound. And I'm not really a fiddler when it comes to, you know, like dialing in tones live. I quite like something that I can just twist one knob and get the sound I want. My favorite reverb of all time is the TC Electronics Hall of Fame Mini. One knob, that's it. I even still have it on the original like setting, the original Hall setting that it comes with. I tried different ones over the years from different artists and different things. I even tried making my own at one point, and I just kept reverting back to the original one, because it just worked. I'm a big fan of things that just work. I mentioned that in a few videos. I just like to plug something in and there it is. Had to settle for the Champion 40 and Donna pedals. Nothing wrong with the Champion 40. They're great. You can get a lot of good sounds out of those Champion 40s. And the Donna stuff's great. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a bunch of those pedal brands like Donna, New X, Joyo, even Harley Benton have these mini pedals. And they're literally all the same pedals. They're made by the same people in the same factory. They just stamp differently for different production runs. So the Donna pedals are no different to anything else we're talking about here. They're great pedals. The quality and the reliability of all these affordable things has come on so much in the last few years. I mean, when I started playing guitar in the early 2000s, if you bought a pedal for 30 quid, it wasn't really good. But now you could literally buy something like a New X pedal and take it out and gig it. I mean, I do. I've gigged with the Atlantic. I've gigged with the Horseman. I always keep it on the shelf because it's just one of those things. Like, I love having a Klon style tone in my arsenal, and this is one of the best I've heard. My favourite, obviously, is this thing, the Cherrytone Centura. I mean, that to me is, other than getting a real Klon, that's kind of the pinnacle of the Klon thing for me. But this doesn't sound a million miles away. And in a mix, you know, you can't tell that much of a difference. But when it comes to saving space on a pedal board, if you're building a small board for a gig, you know, which one of those do you put on there? That's a lot of real estate if you're trying to travel light. These are great, the Horsemen. There's some of the... and the Blues Breaker version they did, the Morning Star, that's also an incredible pedal. The New X amp modeling pedal was just a drive bit of kit. I don't think I've tried any of their amp modeling stuff, actually. I know that obviously Quicksilver has been using them, but I've not actually tried their amp modeling stuff. As far as New X go, I've only done videos on actual stomp boxes. My first ever rig, PV Rage 158. The PV Rage. That's... those amps are indestructible. If you still have that amp, I bet it still works, because those old PVs do not die. With a Marshall Governor plus an Epiphone Les Paul, James Dean Bradfield on a budget. What more do you need? If that does the job, then that does the job. Those PVs are really underrated, actually. I used to gig with a big PV amp. I can't remember the name of it. I actually borrowed it off a drummer I was playing with at the time, because I didn't have a loud amp, and he, for some reason, had this monstrosity of a 2x12 PV something. It was a solid state amp. I don't know what the model was. It sounded awful, really sterile, but I just used to chuck some drive pedals in front of it and, you know, get on with it. But again, it was indestructible though. We took it, we beat the hell out of it, we bashed it around gigs, and you just couldn't break the thing. It probably still works to this day. I think it was like an old 90s one. I like the Verdugo series of pedals. I'm trying to figure out why or where I would stick in their new tape echo pedal and their duo time delay pedal also. clearly overkill if I add all three. I mean, it's only overkill if you think it is. There's always room for one more pedal. Even if you don't use it, there's always room for it. That's kind of the golden rule. You always need more. Think of it as options. You need options. Maybe some days the tape echo, and maybe some days the duo time. And if you don't have them both, you're not going to have the options. Otherwise, you reckon forget the splitter and just use the stereo out from the Atlantic into each of the new X Amp Academies. Amp Academy. That's what I was trying to remember. So that it's more like a dual mono. I mean, that's what I would do. For me, that would be the sort of the setup I would use. And also, kind of tagging on your next question, there would 2 twin reverb amps make sense, or mix the amps? What I would do is one of two things. I would experiment, first of all, with 2 different amps. So I'm not sure what the Amp Academy has built in, but I'm guessing, you know, Fender, Marshall, Vox, the usual suspects. I would, first of all, mix 2. So I'd have a twin reverb one side and probably like a Marshall Plexi the other side. Try and get a nice blend between the two. When I blend amps, what I try to kind of go for is figuring out where they kind of sit in the frequency range. So for me, like a twin reverb, those nice highs and that kind of tight low end, I would kind of focus the EQ around that. And then for the Marshall, that's where your mids are. So I would kind of shave the top off and shave the bottom off and just really kind of focus on those mids. So together, you get that real kind of nice fat sound. If that didn't work for me, then I would go for 2 of the same amp, but EQ them slightly differently. But again, just a taste. Just kind of all figuring out what you want to achieve from it. Same circuitry, Behringer digital reverb, don't gig anymore, it's safe. Yeah, the Behringer stuff's pretty good. I actually have one somewhere in the vicinity of where I'm sat right now, and I can't... Where the hell did I put that? I was literally looking at it a minute ago. Ah, right there. So, I actually have this thing, the Behringer Ultra Metal. This was actually my first drive pedal, I think. It was either this or the DS1. I can't remember which one I got first. But at that point, I was playing in a band, and I only had an amp. It might actually have been that PV amp that I was just talking about that was only clean. The drive channel was awful. So in my infinite wisdom, I bought one of these. And I thought, well, that'll make the awful clean amp sound good. Because, you know, it's ultra metal. Of course it'll make it sound good. And I used to run the drive on like that. Like pretty much no drive. Because it was too much drive even on that setting. But this pedal I literally hadn't seen for 15 years. The band I used to play in when we kind of disbanded, this came off the pedalboard. It got put in a box when I lived with my parents. And then I went to see my parents recently, and my mother handed me this and said I found this. So I haven't actually, I need to plug it in actually to reminisce about how this thing sounds. Quality wise, these are when Behringer were putting everything in those really awful plastic stomp boxes. I had a few of the chromatic tuners and I kept breaking them, but they were good though. They sounded half decent, you know. They weren't the worst sounding pedals. But Behringer actually now own TC Electronics, and there's this series of TC Electronics pedals in these medium-sized kind of metal casings, and they're all Behringer circuits that TC have tweaked a bit, and they're great. They sound great. They're robust, reliable. I've gigged with them for years, and you can't fault them. Speaking all about the amp model and the new X Amp Academy pedals. Oh, okay, right. I'm late catching up on that comment. Sorry. Yeah, I figured you were on about the amp models on there, though. Do signature guitars make you play better? Not necessarily. No guitar really makes you play better. You can play the same on any guitar. I mean, I'm kind of more of a believer of you are the thing that gets the sound rather than the gear, because for me personally, I do find that whatever gig I'm doing, I can pretty much take whatever I want and kind of get the same sounds. So signature guitars don't necessarily make you play better. They make you play differently. So that's tonally, and how you play is kind of up to you. But I think signature guitars make you approach playing guitar slightly differently. Because obviously, like, if I'm playing this thing, for instance, that we've been talking about tonight, I'm going to play this thing differently to how I'm going to play a Strat. So if I'm playing this, I'm probably going to be, you know, a little bit more aggressive. And then if I'm playing a Strat, I might, you know, be a bit gentler or play a bit softer. Being a signature guitar doesn't really make you play better or worse. It's just down to how you want to play. I played a gig at the Globe using my 6505, which was on casters. When we were loading out, the drummer accidentally shoved it off the front of the stage. I shouldn't laugh at that because I would be absolutely fuming and I would have words with that drummer. But the next statement saves it, plugged it in again, and it was fine. Chuck Norris of amps. Yeah, it is. But honestly, I would have pushed the drummer off the front of the stage if they'd done that to me. I would not have been happy. Especially a 6505. It's not a cheap amp, you know. That's like £1,500 worth of amp. You don't just shove that off the front of the stage. Subscribe. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. I had the Ultra Metal too. They're great. I mean, it's fun. It's like quirky and fun. It's the things we buy when we're young. I was like 17 when I bought my Ultra Metal. So, I mean, I'm 33 now. So it's half my life ago I bought that thing. My tonal tastes have changed a lot in 16 years. Our guitarist died pretty much the end of everything. Sorry to hear that, Eric. I mean, you could always consider starting another band at some point when everything settles down. But yeah, that always sucks. Sorry to obviously hear that. Hopefully you guys do find a way to continue at some point. I'm sure your guitar player would enjoy knowing that you guys have continued in his kind of memory as well. Signatures bump up the price, let's face it. Not always. Sometimes they do. If we're talking, you know, like a Gibson, for instance, someone does a signature Gibson or a signature Fender, then the prices go up. But there are a lot of brands actually making really good signature guitars that aren't crazy expensive. Some of which are actually some of my favourite guitars. This being one. So this is something I talk about a lot on videos, and you know, I use this a lot for gigs and a lot of different live streams. This is a Jackson Adrian Smith signature model. Adrian Smith being the Iron Maiden guitar player, for anyone who doesn't know. These guitars retail at like 400 and something pound. So not expensive by any means. Great guitars, you know, entirely roadworthy and reliable. I gig with this thing all the time. Sometimes signature guitars can bump up in price. I have one of the Epiphone Tom DeLonge signatures, which is the ES333. Now those, when they were new, were like £300, but because of, you know, supply and demand and them being discontinued and whatnot, now they're like £1,000. But they weren't that much when they were new. Sometimes, obviously, though, you do get expensive signature models. If you look at, you know, the John Mayer PRS Silver Skies, those are the best part of $2,500. You know, the new Guthrie Govan Charvel is the affordable Charvel with Guthrie's name on it, and that's $2,500. But it's a lot cheaper than his other Charvel, which is just shy of $4,000. So sometimes you do get that increase because of a name on there. But sometimes you get signature guitars that are incredible value for money, and obviously that Adrian Smith is one of them. As Amped Wales is rightly saying there, silly value for money, as he says every week, and I say it every week as well. It is insane value for money. Also, you've got the Schecter Nick Johnston model. That's one of the best Strats on the market in my opinion, and they're like, again, not super cheap, but they're like £800. But it's a lot cheaper than a USA Fender, for instance. But I think it's easily in the same ballpark. Again, that's kind of one of my go-to Strats for gigs. So it's a signature model, but I just treat it like a modern Strat. The Joe Strummer signature Telly was a joke. Yeah, now when you kind of think about Fender signature models are always crazy. Like they did those Jimmy Page ones like 2 years ago, and they were like $45,000. And it's like, why? Why is it that much money? And there's probably a few of them online actually. If we kind of check out one of the retailers, like let's check out Thomann, for instance, because Thomann do a lot of stuff with signature guitars. And let's see what the most expensive one is. let's have a look. So currently, wow, the Orianthi PRS private stock, 10 grand. I mean, is it a 10 grand guitar? Probably not. Adrian Smith Jackson, speaking of value for money, £8,300. Obviously, this is a Jackson custom shop, but that is a silly price. It's cool though. It's a cool guitar. I would own that if I had the money for it, because I'm a huge Maiden fan. I mean, that's just cool. I would definitely own that. One pickup, Floyd Rose, volume tone, maple fretboard, 8 grand. Yeah, that's fine. Where do I sign up? Things like this, the Joe Walsh PRS, that's, you know, 6.5 grand. James Hetfield's ESP, 6.5 grand. Gibson BB King Lucille, just under 6 grand. Obviously, sometimes these big companies do really push the envelope when it comes to that kind of thing. I mean, some of these guitars are cool, but I mean, they're not infinitely better than the guitars that they're based on. So, for instance, you know, where did I just see that? The Eric Clapton Strat, 6 grand. Now, that's not 3 grand better than a Fender Custom Shop Strat, or 4 grand better than a Fender Custom Shop Strat. It's just that price because it's got someone's name on it. Obviously, it's been master built, but you know, Peter Frampton's Gibson Les Paul Custom, 6 grand. Is it better than any other Gibson Les Paul Custom? Probably not. But because it's a signature model, we're paying these prices. So this is something we do see a lot, unfortunately, where some guitar players' names will really bump those prices up. I think kind of when you get above 3 grand, it starts to get a little bit silly. I mean, to be honest, I don't own anything that's even remotely close to the 3 grand mark. But I do think it kind of gets a bit silly when we start talking about those numbers, because it's just so much money. I mean, Music Man Valentine, they're great guitars, but £3,700, it's a lot of money. I mean, it is limited edition to 55 pieces, but again, it's that same thing. Why is it that much money? Is it worth that much money? Who knows? You can get equivalents for way less that probably aren't that different. Is the Pete Thorne Sir model worth £1,000 more than a regular Sir just because it's got Pete's name on it? Probably not. But you can also get some guitars on the, you know, on the cheap end of the spectrum. Like down here, we've got these Paul Stanley signature models for £309, which I'm guessing Amped Wales probably has a couple of because he's got a huge Kiss guitar collection. I need to get one of those actually, just because I love Kiss, and I mean, who wouldn't want one of those? That's just a fun guitar, isn't it? That's just, you put that thing on, it doesn't even have to play that good. You just want to throw some shapes and kind of jump around and play Kiss songs on it. Some of these are great value for money though, like Dean guitars, Michael Amott signature, less than £300. That's pretty good. Ibanez Gem Jr., £400. Those are fantastic value for money. Court Matt Bellamy signature, £400. I like seeing signature guitars in lower price ranges because I actually think that obviously a lot of people that are going to buy signature models are going to be fans of the players and fans of the band, and a lot of people just don't have thousands of pounds to drop on a guitar, and that's a fact. You know, none of us do. None of us can just go out and say, let's buy a 10 grand PRS, because, you know, we can't, because we're not millionaires. So having signature guitars in really affordable price ranges is great. There's the one I was just playing, £425. You can sometimes pick them up even cheaper than that. Obviously, sometimes they come up. I actually paid like £350 for mine from a shop. There's one of the Schecters I was talking about. That's a B stock one, less than £700. Fantastic. Those are the kind of prices you want to pay. Epiphone Tommy Thayer Electric Blue Les Paul. Now, speaking of Kiss, this £666, I actually went to see Kiss last week, as we were talking about earlier on in the stream, and Tommy was playing one of these on stage. It's a £666 Epiphone Les Paul, and Tommy Thayer played one on stage with Kiss. So that kind of dispels the fact that you don't need to spend thousands of pounds to have an artist model, I think. you can have an artist model for just a couple hundred. The Adrian Smith is a poor man's Charvel. It's very Charvel, isn't it? I like the Charvel thing, but that guitar was always like kind of a dream one for me. I think Adrian did actually have a Charvel that was quite similar in the 80s, but I remember seeing that there was a live video, which I actually have on VHS, an Iron Maiden thing from the 80s, and I saw Adrian Smith play one of those on that video, and that became one of my dream guitars when I was like 15, and it took me like 16 years to get older one, but I finally found one. I reckon the EVH Wolfgang standards are silly value for money too. Yeah, they are. Incredible value for money. What isn't incredible value for money is the new PV ones. Because PV reissued their take on the Wolfgang. They call it the HP 24 or something. They're basically the old PV Wolfgang styles that were like £700. And then what they then did was they found loads of them in a warehouse after Eddie died and then reissued them for like $2,000. They're good guitars, but I mean, not $2,000 worth of good. Why can't Americans pronounce Jaguar? If I had Kurt Cobain's signature, I'd hide it. How do Americans pronounce Jaguar? I thought Americans pronounce it pretty much the same as we do. Obviously, accents pending, of course, but I'm pretty sure everyone I've heard from America pronounces it Jaguar or Jaguar. I think they over enunciate the A. I think. I bought a lefty Fender Player Stratocaster in white with a maple fretboard. Paid about $800, and I'm in love. Been wanting one forever, and finally got one. That's one of the best kind of feelings when you actually like chase after a guitar for a long time, and then you finally get hold of one. Doesn't really matter what it is. It doesn't matter how expensive it is or what brand it is. If there's a guitar that you're chasing, when you finally get one, it's incredible. Because that's exactly how I felt about that Jackson. I'd wanted one of those Jacksons since I was young. Getting into Iron Maiden when I was young, I always wanted one of those. And then Jackson kind of brought them back in the early 2000s, but you could only get them if you paid like $2,000 for the top line USA custom shop models, which I didn't have. And then they released the Indonesian ones, which are, well, I've got £450 or less than that brand new. I got lucky and I got it for slightly cheaper again from a store in the UK. But yeah, I chased that for so long. And when I finally got it, I didn't put it down. I still don't put it down. It's just like one of the guitars that I pick up the most. I've always had a weird thing with signature guitars because some of my favourite guitars have actually been signature guitars. And I now own the signature guitars that were my favourites. But I don't tend to go on my way to buy signatures. It's quite a strange thing. I don't kind of lust after every signature guitar, but there's certain ones that I'm really kind of keen on, and that Jackson was one of them. The Gem Junior is superb. I got a really awesome deal on a used one with a Sustainiac put in. Awesome bit of kit. Oh, so yours is one of the Juniors then? I thought you meant you bought a top line Gem, but the Juniors are great. I played one of the I think it was a white one. Someone I know owns one, and again, like £400 guitar. It's great. Ibanez are another company that are just coming in at this like price range that's not expensive, and it's just good stuff. The new guitars they brought out last year, which we shot videos on at 42 Gear Street, the AZ Essentials, which is like the Ibanez AZ £1,500 guitars, but they released these new ones, which I think retail at like, again, £250-ish, which Tomo Fujita designed with the guys at Ibanez, and they're great. Ibanez is just another one of those companies, just everything in that price range is just on it. There's a virtual pub live stream of bloke getting drunk. Are we still doing virtual pubs? I thought that kind of, I didn't think that was still something that happened these days. I thought that kind of got left in lockdown. But it's cool if people are still doing it though. It's somewhere different to be on a weeknight that doesn't involve going out. Congrats, Dennis. Those Play Series guitars are well built. Yeah, they are. That's a good find, Dennis. Because I guess new, that guitar would have been a couple $100 more. So you got a very good price there. Jaguar is not an English word, so everyone is pronouncing it wrong. You'd have to give us a lesson in how to pronounce it then. Very well made guitar. Yeah, they are. Very well made. The PRS Silver Sky SE is on my wish list, but not because it's a signature guitar. Now, I will admit, even though I just said I don't want that many signature guitars, I do want a Silver Sky because I'm a big John Mayer fan. I kind of convinced myself that I didn't need one because, you know, it's a Strat. It's a 3 pickup Strat. I've got other Strats that I like. I don't really need another one, but I want a Silver Sky, but I can't justify paying $2,500 for one. But then I played one, and the second I picked it up, I knew I was in trouble because I instantly confirmed my need to own one at some point. I don't own one yet, and it's probably a long way off me actually getting one, but I do want one. I haven't played the SEs yet, though. My only gripe with the SEs is I don't think they nailed the colours. I kind of like the red one, or they call it like dragon fruit, but the other ones I'm not so fussed on. But yeah, the SEs are apparently very good. They're not the same spec as the USA ones, though. They've got a different fretboard radius. The USA ones have a fully vintage spec, like 7¼ inch radius, but the SEs are an 8.5 inch. So it's a little bit more modern, not as modern as like, you know, like a 12 inch radius or whatever, but more leaning that way. When I saw the recording of Jimi Hendrix playing at Woodstock, I said, that's the one I want, and that was 50 years ago. And you got it, and that's all that matters. If you finally got one, although you should have actually bought a right-handed one, because that's what Jimmy would have played. You should have bought a right-handed one and flipped it. That's actually one of those weird things that I'm kind of considering doing at some point, is actually buying a left-handed guitar and flipping it, just for the Hendrix thing, but in reverse. Because obviously Jimmy played right-handed guitars, because they do a Hendrix signature, which is a right-handed Strat with a reverse headstock, but it's not really the same thing, because obviously the whole thing was backwards with Jimmy. So I'm kind of tempted to buy a left-handed Strat at some point if I can find one for, you know, like maybe even like I may even buy like a left-handed Squire and just like mod it or something. Call it a Pantera if it's easier. Same similar genus off the bat. The ya is pronounced as a ha. Jaguar. I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing it with that kind of pronunciation. It's probably sort of Spanish kind of sort of origin, which obviously where the ha would come from, because a lot of Spanish-based languages don't pronounce J's the same way as we do. If you buy a left-handed Strat, you need mirrored decals to complete the effect. Well, if you bought the... Oh, right, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Yes, because the decal is the same, but it's just the other way round. Of course, yeah. So you'd have to buy like a left-handed... Yeah, I get it. Oh, yeah, you've thrown a spanner in the works now. You've really thrown a spanner in the works for the authenticity there. I hope you're able to get your Silver Sky. I really love those too. One day I will, Dennis. One day. I've got a lot of saving to do, and I've got too many other things I need to save for before that. So, unfortunately, it's not high up on my priority list in terms of guitar buying. One day, though. One day I will hopefully get my hands on one, and yeah. I mean, hopefully by then the buzz about them will have died out as well. I'm kind of hoping to ride that wave. I'm hoping people kind of get over them in a year or two, and then it drives the price down. Not good for PRS, but good for me, because then I can probably get one for, you know, if I can get one for less than $2,000, I'll be happy. Because obviously right now the retail price is $2,500 or $2,400 in the UK, which I guess for you guys in the States is probably like a little bit more. So I think for you guys in the States it's probably like $2,700, I think retail price would be. So yeah, if I can get one for like £1,500 at some point, I'll probably be quite happy. Not that I've got £1,500 to buy one right now, but you know, I can dream. Mirror image decal, so when you look at yourself in the mirror, the logo is correct. And that's all that matters, because the only reason you'd ever do anything as a guitar player is to look cool. And that's, it doesn't matter what anyone says, that is the ultimate dream, to look cool when you do it. Jimmy's guitars are proper right-handed guitars, so even the Fender label is upside down. Yeah, it was, but I get what he's saying when he says the mirror image, because yes, the logo is upside down, but on a left-handed guitar, the logo starts from the opposite side, because the logo is still the same way round, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, if this Harley Benton here was left-handed, this isn't going to be reversed, but if we're talking about the guitar in this way, the Harley's going to be on the outside, not the inside, because it's still going to read the same way, but they just have to put it on the opposite way. But if I flipped a left-handed Strat, the logo would be upside down and backwards. Jimmy's logo would have been the upside down and the opposite way. It's because I'm trying to think of this now. On a left-handed Fender Strat, the F is not. It's easier actually if I show you on a Strat style guitar. On this Jackson, for instance, the J's there. So if this was a Fender, that would be the F, Fender. If the guitar is this way, I still need to read it the same way. So the J would be there, so it would be Jackson, which it would be on a left-handed Fender. But then if I did this, the logo is now the other way around. It's upside down, but it's also the other way around. So yeah, it's a weird one. You're both right though. It's one of those details that would only annoy a guitar player. Most people would never, ever even worry about it, but guitar players, we will worry about that. I did get a killer guitar strap. Guitar straps are good as well. I love guitar straps. I have a bit of a thing with like vintage style straps, like with really ugly patterns, because they're just fun. I don't like plain guitar straps. I like kind of quite wacky pattern straps that look like curtains from the 1970s. The strap has a picture of Jimi Hendrix on it. I bet that looks really cool. That would look awesome with the Strat as well, because obviously Hendrix. Why would you not? Now you need a fuzz pedal to go with it, and a wah pedal, and a Marshall stack, and then you've got the full range there. So yeah, that was fun. Thank you guys. I think we've been going for about 2 hours now, so we should probably call it a night there. We've been ragging on about guitars for quite a while now. It's getting quite late here in the UK, and I know obviously for some of you guys further east than here, it's even later. I think for Quicksilver, it's probably closer to midnight for you now, because I guess you're probably 2 hours ahead. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out for so long. A lot of you guys have been here since the start as well. That was really fun. Obviously, I'm not away at any point in the near future for anything, so for the next few weeks at least, our streams are going to be back to normal. So yeah, thank you guys as always for hanging out, talking guitars, keeping the chat going. That was a lot of fun. I hope you guys liked the sound of the Harley Benton. Obviously, there's going to be a full-length video on this thing very soon. I'm going to be shooting this in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, this has really surprised me. Really, really surprised me. I'm really into this. I'm looking forward to digging into this a lot more. So yeah, keep an eye out for that video. There's a bunch of other videos coming soon as well, like my vlog from my trip around southern France gigging. The thing I've been working on with Martin guitars as well, that's going to be coming out very soon. And yeah, plenty of other stuff as well. I've got quite a big backlog of videos to get through at the moment. I think I've got like 15, 20 videos on my backlog, so there's a lot of stuff coming. You can get a Squire out of a Fender being the flagship brand. They actually got it right with the label. 1 hour. It's only 1 hour. Is it? I thought Prague was a little bit further back. It's been a few years since I went to Prague though, so my time zone memory is gone. Thank you so much for doing the live shows. Thank you for attending every week, Dennis, as well, because obviously without people attending all the time, I can't do the shows. So you guys attending the shows actually means a lot, because it means I can keep doing the shows, and that obviously makes a big difference as well. Cheers, good night, Peter. Thank you again. You've been here since the start as well, so thank you. I want one now. Cheers, Leigh. Spending my money for me again. That's what I do. I spend other people's money. But the flip side is I always end up spending my own money as well. So, you know, we all lose here. We're all in the same boat. We're in this one together because we're guitar players. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to everyone for the donations as well. Obviously, those help massively. They all go straight back into the channel, help me, you know, spend more and more time doing this, growing the channel, spending more time making videos and doing live streams for you guys. So every bit of support massively, massively helps. Hit that like button. give me that thumbs up. Again, I've done it again. I've talked for over 2 hours without telling you to do that at the start. I know my chat bot has been telling you to do it, and I know a lot of you have. But if you haven't already done it, give that thumb up a smash as well, because that will help the magical YouTube algorithm find more of these videos. And obviously, as always, tell all your friends. There's some links down below. Give those a click. Come hang out on social media. I post a lot of gear pictures on Instagram, so if you haven't got me on Instagram, go and give that a click as well, and look at some guitar pictures, because again, that's what the internet's for. Take care, Eric. Thank you for hanging out. Good to speak to you, and enjoy the killer new Harley Benton. Thanks for the unboxing. Thank you, Dennis. Sorry I couldn't plug in the pedal, guys. I don't know where my travel adapters are, but I will dig those out for next time, and we'll plug that thing in next week. So yeah, have a good week, everyone, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.